the reality of long-term care and what retirees should know about Medicaid, nursing homes, and protecting what matters most. After years of working hard, paying taxes, and building a life for their families, many people assume the healthcare system will take care of them if they ever need serious help in retirement. Unfortunately, long-term care often works differently than expected. A stroke, dementia, or any condition that requires ongoing daily assistance can create costs that quickly strain or even deplete retirement savings. This isn't about scaring anyone. It's about understanding how the system actually works so you and your family can make better, more informed decisions before a crisis hits. The purpose of this video is simple: to share clear, practical information about long-term care costs, Medicaid rules, common misconceptions, and why planning ahead can make a real difference for peace of mind and family stability. Long-term care is one of the biggest financial risks many retirees face today. People often spend years planning their retirement income, managing investments, handling taxes, and figuring out the best time to claim Social Security. Yet far fewer prepare for the possibility of needing help with everyday activities later in life. These activities include bathing, dressing, eating, getting around safely, taking medications on time, and sometimes memory support or full-time monitoring. When someone needs this kind of ongoing custodial care, the expenses can add up fast and become life-changing for the entire family. In 2026, assisted living facilities typically cost between $4,000 and $8,000 per month, depending on the location and level of services. Skilled nursing facilities often range from $9,000 to $15,000 monthly, while specialized memory care in larger cities can go even higher. A stay of 2, 3, or more years can easily total hundreds of thousands of dollars. Many families feel shocked when they first see these numbers because they had assumed Medicare would cover most or all of the long-term stay. In reality, Medicare has clear limits on this type of care. Medicare and Medicaid sound similar, but they serve very different roles. Medicare is the main health insurance program for people age 65 and older. It helps pay for hospital stays, doctor visits, surgeries, short-term rehabilitation after a hospital stay, and some prescription medications. However, Medicare generally does not cover indefinite long-term custodial care in a nursing home or assisted living facility. It may pay for a limited period of skilled rehabilitation if there is clear medical improvement, but once the main need shifts to help with daily living activities, Medicare coverage usually stops. This transition is where many families first feel serious financial pressure. Medicaid works differently. It is a joint federal and state program that can cover long-term nursing home care for people who meet the eligibility rules. Because it is needs-based, applicants must qualify based on their income and assets. This part creates real difficulty for middle-class retirees who have worked hard, saved money, bought a home, and built up retirement accounts, but who simply cannot afford to privately pay tens of thousands of dollars every month for years. Understanding this difference early helps families avoid panic later. When a parent or spouse suddenly needs extended care after a stroke, Parkinson's progression, severe mobility issues, or dementia-related complications, families often find themselves making urgent health decisions at the same time they are learning about insurance limits and financial rules. Medicare benefits may end sooner than expected, long-term care insurance may not be available or may have been too expensive to buy earlier, and private nursing home bills arrive quickly. On top of everything, families must navigate Medicaid requirements, timing rules, and asset guidelines during what is already an emotionally difficult time. This combination of stress is exactly why learning the basics while things are still calm can give families more options and reduce unnecessary hardship. One of the most important rules to understand is the Medicaid look-back period. In most states, this is a 5-year window. When someone applies for Medicaid long-term care coverage, the state reviews financial activity from the previous 60 months. They look at things like large gifts to family members, property transfers, sales of assets below fair market value, or other significant changes in ownership. The purpose of this review is to prevent people from simply moving assets out of their name right before applying. If certain transfers are considered improper, the state can impose a penalty period that delays Medicaid eligibility. The length of that penalty depends on the value of the assets involved and the state's specific formula. This is why the timing of any financial decisions can matter a great deal. Families sometimes run into problems because they follow well-meaning but incomplete advice. For example, some parents add adult children to the title of their house thinking it will automatically protect the home. In many cases, this can trigger transfer penalties, create tax issues, or expose the property to other risks such as the child's creditors or divorce proceedings. Large gifts for weddings, college tuition, or helping with a down payment on a house are generous and common, but if they happen inside the look-back window, they can affect eligibility calculations. Waiting until after a health emergency to start researching options also limits choices because the clock on past transactions cannot be turned back. Another important topic is Medicaid estate recovery. After a person who received Medicaid long-term care passes away, many states have the right to seek reimbursement for the costs they covered. This is known as the Medicaid Estate Recovery Program. Rules differ significantly from state to state. Some states pursue recovery more aggressively and may look at a broader range of assets, while others focus mainly on the probate estate. Certain assets, like a primary home, may have protections under specific conditions, especially if a spouse or dependent child is still living there. Because these rules vary, what applies in one state may be quite different in another. This is one reason why understanding your own state's policies is so valuable. State laws influence almost every part of long-term care planning. Asset limits, spousal protections, treatment of trusts, home equity exemptions, and estate recovery procedures all change depending on where you live. Two families with very similar finances and health situations can face different outcomes simply because they reside in different states. That is why generic advice found online should always be checked against local rules rather than followed blindly. This is where qualified elder law attorneys play a key role. These professionals focus on areas such as Medicaid planning, asset protection strategies that follow the rules, estate planning, powers of attorney, healthcare directives, and guardianship when needed. They help families explore legal options that fit their specific situation and timeline. Some families consider tools like irrevocable trusts, sometimes referred to as Medicaid Asset Protection Trusts. When set up correctly and early enough, these can help protect certain assets while still complying with look-back requirements. However, these trusts are complex legal instruments. They require giving up direct control of the assets, involve important trade-offs, and must be drafted properly to avoid problems. Tax consequences, trustee responsibilities, and state-specific rules all need careful review. They are not the right choice for every family. The clearest lesson most families learn is that planning opportunities are greatest while you are still healthy and able to make your own decisions. Updating wills, creating durable powers of attorney for finances and healthcare, reviewing beneficiary designations on retirement accounts and insurance policies, and simply talking openly with loved ones about future preferences can provide much more flexibility. Even creating a clear inventory of assets and debts helps when the time comes to make decisions. Planning is not only about money, it is also deeply emotional. Adult children often carry guilt about placing a parent in a facility, worry about caregiving burnout, or disagree with siblings on the best approach. Parents may fear losing their independence, becoming a burden on their children, watching their savings disappear, or losing dignity in the process. These feelings are completely normal. Avoiding the conversation rarely makes the situation easier. Families who discuss these topics earlier tend to feel more prepared and experience less conflict when difficult choices need to be made. Many retirees have spent decades learning how to earn and manage money, but much less time understanding how late-life healthcare systems actually function. This knowledge gap leaves people vulnerable to incorrect assumptions. They may believe their home is automatically safe, that small gifts will never matter, or that all states follow the same rules. Taking time to learn the realities allows you to ask better questions, avoid common pitfalls, and make decisions with clearer eyes. Here are some practical questions worth considering, no matter your current age or financial level. What would happen financially if I or my spouse needed several years of nursing home care? Do I fully understand the difference between Medicare and Medicaid coverage? Are my legal documents current and properly drafted? Has my family had honest conversations about long-term care preferences and wishes? Would it be helpful to speak with an elder law attorney who knows the rules in my state? Does long-term care insurance still make sense given my health and budget? How does my state handle estate recovery? Are the ways my assets are currently owned still appropriate for my stage of life? The American long-term care system brings together health policy, state regulations, estate law, insurance rules, and real family caregiving needs. There are no perfect or one-size-fits-all solutions. Every approach involves trade-offs between control, flexibility, taxes, protection, and costs. The goal is not to fear the future, but to face it with awareness and preparation. Most retirees are not trying to game any system. They simply want to protect their spouse, preserve their dignity, avoid unnecessary financial hardship, and leave something for the next generation if possible. Every family situation is unique. The right steps for one household may not fit another, depending on health conditions, savings level, family relationships, state of residence, and personal values. That is exactly why solid education combined with personalized professional guidance matters so much. The earlier you begin learning about these issues, the more choices you usually have. In many cases, understanding the rules before an emergency arises can make a meaningful difference emotionally, financially, and practically for everyone involved. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not legal, tax, investment, or financial advice. Medicaid laws and rules vary by state and can change over time. Always consult a qualified elder law attorney or other licensed professional who can advise you on your specific situation.